Hello, it's me, Rick. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. Today is the 7th episode of Opolis Inc. and we'll fully automate gold ingots production, as well as basic storage box production, and more. Follow along. Okay, I know that as per usual, it might seem like a lot has changed in between episodes, so let me run you through what I did. Starting with the elephant in the room, I've built a roof for our base and I started placing a layout for our future extension. I've also added 2 elevators here and here on the roof, make it easier to access the base. Down here I placed these 2 cloches and I've made Inferium seeds, which are really easy to make. We just needed the infusion altar that we made last time, place 8 Inferium essence, 1 on each pedestal and a seed in the middle, and activate it with a button. The process is really slow, it in fact takes 2400 ticks. However, with this upgrade made, it now takes only 760. This percentage upgrade reduces the duration of a recipe by 60%, and it's really easy to make. It needs 4 clocks with an upgrade base in the middle. Then to upgrade it, you need 4 diamonds, and to upgrade it once again, it's just 4 obsidian. I've also made a fixed upgrade. However, I've not been able to upgrade it to the tier 2 as I've run out of diamonds. I've then also added a resource generator that is generating stone for us, as I've needed hundreds of blocks of stones to build this roof. And lastly, I made 256 basic farming bucks, which means then we can finally afford the unbreakable basic farming license. So let's go ahead and submit them. There we go. Be able to use this license in a quantum compressor, and I think I'll use potatoes to then generate specialized potato license. In between episodes, I also had an issue where iron was not really getting produced anymore, and I'll show you a quick fix. First of all, this logistical transporter can be given a color by shift right clicking with a branch on the side, and you see at the bottom that it's cycling through colors. So I put blue on the basic smelting factory and black under the multi-block controller. I've then gone in the logistical transporter and added a new filter like we've seen last time. Put the black on top and the blue at the bottom. This means that the logistical sorter will give priority to the black channel, so the multi-block controller. And then once this is full, it's going to end up in the smelting factory. To fasten the process, I've also removed one of the layers that we had added last time so that the controller can get full faster and the iron dust can end up in the smelting factory producing infinite iron ingots. Now, as I mentioned before, I want to upgrade these speed upgrades. As for both this one and this one, I'm needing diamonds, which I currently don't have. Improve our chances of getting diamonds, I want to craft some fortune books to add on a pickaxe. To craft a fortune 2 book, we'll need 8 elite mining bucks, which we can get with an elite mining license, that we can craft with elite mining fragments. Elite mining fragments are part of one of the quests. As you can read here, drops from elite license source, which can be found in the nether. So let me quickly get a diamond pickaxe and we'll pay a quick visit to the nether. To make moving around the nether even easier, I'm going to craft a few flight blocks that I'll be placing around. My nether spawn is in this biome of plenty biome, and I don't think I can find any elite license source. So I'm going to look for a regular Minecraft nether biome. It's luckily not too difficult. I found some over here. So let's mine it. And that's our quest completed. I'm quickly gonna mine some quartz while I'm here and then I'll head on. I've obviously ended up spending 15 to 20 minutes in the nether and getting a bunch of mining stuff until I ended up falling in a puddle of lava and quickly TP'd home straight up for my life. Going back to what we were doing, let's craft the elite mining license. And we can now use it to sell a bunch of quartz that previously mined in the nether. Now that we have 8, we can place them around the book and we'll officially have our Fortune 2 enchanted book. Let's add Fortune to our pickaxe. And it's now time for me to go back to the mine and look for some diamonds. Well, although I did risk my life a handful of times, I'd say that that was a very successful mining expedition. I'm in fact back with 48 diamonds, along with a bunch of other ores, as well as a new copper backpack, which I found in one of those spawners chests. And I'm not sure why I never bothered making one, to be honest. Now that we have all those diamonds, we can finally upgrade these speeds upgrades, just like that, and like that. This will now take only 560 ticks to produce an inferium. And with 4 pieces of obsidian, we can also upgrade this percentage speed upgrade and put it in this cloche, along with a fixed speed upgrade too. Now, I've realized that I've not really told you why are we making so much inferium. My plan is to make gold seeds. These require 4 pieces of Imperium, 4 gold ingots, and 1 prosperity seed base. Prosperity seed base is really easy to craft. It in fact only needs 4 prosperity shards with 1 wheat seed in the middle. While the 4 pieces of Imperium needs an infusion crystal with 4 tertium. Tertium needs 4 pieces of Prudentium, and the Prudentium needs 4 pieces of Inferium. Let's make our first infusion crystal. We can craft it really easy with 4 pieces of Inferium, 4 prosperity shard, and 1 diamond in the middle. Now, if my calculations are correct, we'll need 4 stacks of Inferium, and we'll upgrade all of them to Prudentium, and upgrade the Prudentium to Tertium or Tertium, whatever you use. How do you pronounce it? Is it Tertium or Tertium? I have no idea. Let's upgrade these to 4 pieces of Imperium. We can now get a prosperity shard. Now, if we take 4 pieces of gold and we place them here, it doesn't matter in which order you place them. We then place the Imperium essence and the prosperity seed base in the middle. Let's activate it. And we have our gold seeds. Pretty easy, right? We can now use some basic farming blocks to buy a cloche. And we can then temporarily place it here with a drawer over here and connect it with a logistical transporter. Configure this to extract and place our gold seed in the cloche. Now, to grow, we can see over here that we will need an Imperium farmland, which is crafted with any type of hoe, a piece of dirt, and an Imperium essence. So I'm quickly gonna do that. Now that we have it, we can place it here, and we can see that it will take 2400 ticks to produce 1 gold essence. We'll then be able to mix the gold essences with some molten stone in the solidifier that we have downstairs, and we'll be able to get some gold ore, and then go through the combiner process that we already did with the iron to get raw gold, which then we'll be able to put in an enrichment chamber to get gold dust, and eventually smelt this gold dust into gold ingots. I'm now going to make some more speed upgrades for the cloche, but before we do that, I'm going to move this digital miner as it stopped running. This has been producing gold essence for us, as well as some gold seeds. And you might be asking, Rick, why are you not putting the no seed upgrade in this cloche, nor in these two? And the reason is simple. We can in fact use these seeds in a seed reprocessor to get 3 essence. To craft the seed reprocessor, we'll need 4 iron ingots, 2 iron hoes, 2 solium ingots, and a machine frame. To get the solium ingot, we'll need 2 solium dusts with a prosperity ingot, which is crafted with 1 iron ingot and 4 prosperity shards, while the machine frame is crafted with 4 iron ingots, 4 pieces of redstone, and 1 stone in the middle. And that's our seed reprocessor. We can now place it here. This will require energy, and if we place our seeds, they will slowly transform into Inferium essence for us. While, as I mentioned earlier, if we place our gold seeds, they will transform into gold essence. The real reason why we started with Mystical Agriculture, though, was not just the gold seeds or the Inferium seeds, but in fact it's because I want to progress through this quest of lines, which will eventually get us an ME system. The first task we need to do is get an elite farming license, which is crafted in an infusion altar with 2 weeping vines, 2 twisting vines, 4 Inferium essence, and an advanced farming box in the middle. Once again, it doesn't matter in which order you place the blocks on the infusion pedestals. And that's our elite farming license. We can now use these in the market to sell twisting vines and weeping vines to obtain elite farming bucks. Now, I think vines are much easier to grow as they grow vertically from the bottom up, and they don't need to be hanging like the weeping vines do. While I was in the nether, I also picked up a bunch of bone blocks and transformed them into bone meal for us, so we can now speed up the process. That's one growing already, and we can now shear them down. Let's repeat this process a few times and then I'll sell them to get some elite farming bucks. It actually doesn't seem like they have a height limit, so one of these would have actually been fine to grow. Now that we have a bunch, let's sell it. And we have our elite farming bucks. We can now proceed with the next quest, which requires us to use 4 elite farming bucks to buy a skystone seed, as well as using 6 of them to buy a damaged budding Certus quartz. Now that we have our Certus quartz block, we can just place it here and it will slowly grow some Certus crystals for us. Since I've been using quite a lot of basic farming bucks to get cloches, I've decided to make a specialized potato license just to make it quicker. Over here, I've done exactly the same as there. Placed a cloche, placed a logistical transporter connected to a drawer. We're now gonna grow our skystone seeds, which require the tier 3 farmland. I will now also add the upgrades to make the process quicker. And we now have our first skystone essence. We can now use 8 skystone essence to craft skystone. Our budding Certus quartz has been growing some Certus quartz for us. I've however just realized they can be used in a cloche with a block of skystone to grow infinite Certus quartz crystals for us. Now the issue is that if I break it with a regular pickaxe, because it's a damaged budding Certus quartz, instead of dropping the block, it will drop a block of Certus quartz. I will have in fact to use the silk touch pickaxe that we did in the previous episodes. So once again, let's get a cloche. We can now put the skystone and the budding Certus quartz, and it will take 2400 ticks to produce Certus quartz crystals. While we wait for this, let's check in our quest book this matter energy storage quest line. First thing we need to do is to buy an inscriber, which only costs 32 basic storage bucks. Let's buy it. While I was grabbing some wood, I've also noticed that my drawer is at full capacity. If we shift right click on the side, we'll be able to see that there is space for upgrades. So let's craft a copper upgrade for it. And now we can right click on it. Next, we need to make some printed silicon, which is made in an inscriber with a basic storage box and a silicon. The silicon is obtained by melting Certus quartz dust. Over here in the meantime, we have some Certus quartz crystals, which we can put in a crusher. Make Certus quartz dust, which as I just said, we can melt into silicon. We can now place our inscriber over here, add some basic storage box and some silicon. And it won't take long for it to make the printed silicon we need. The next tasks are to make printed logic circuit, printed engineering circuit, and printed calculation circuit. We need to repeat the same process, but with Certus quartz crystal, diamond, and gold instead. Now, going back to the previous quest line, we need to make some Certus quartz seeds, which will give us essence that we can use to make 6 Certus quartz crystal at a time, rather than waiting for this to grow. Now, if we place 4 Certus quartz crystal, for tier 3 inferium or tertium, and a Certus quartz seed in the middle, we have our Certus quartz seed. We can place that here with a piece of tier 3 farmland and it will grow Certus quartz essence for us. We're now also required to buy a charger, which costs 8 basic storage bucks. There we go. And we can place this one down here. Now, I can already foresee a couple of things. First, we'll need a lot of cloche to generate a lot of different essences, and each of them requires this upgrade, which costs gold and diamond. We've sort of started fixing the gold issue, but it's probably better if we start automating it soon. The second is that we'll need a lot of these printed circuits, which all require basic storage box, which means we should probably automate that as well. Before we do any of that, however, I think I'll have to start preparing the space to then build our automation systems in there. Okay, this might have gone a bit too far. I did say I was gonna get this place ready, but I didn't expect to spend so much time on it, when I honestly didn't even need to. Not only I started building up here with this central hub, which I've got a plan for the future, I've also done all the flooring downstairs. You can tell it's been a while because we have plenty of essences as well ready to go. Now let's get back to us and let's automate this gold. Okay, to do that we'll need a simple tank, with some lava, and a simple tank with some water on top, and a simple controller here, and a solidifier on top. We'll then place a fluid generator behind it with a sink on top, and we'll connect them both with some mechanical pipes. We then need to place a lava bucket here to start generating lava. We'll then need to place a research generator over here and connect it to the controller, and we'll use this to produce stone. Now this stone is gonna get pumped into the controller and it's gonna melt. It will turn into molten stone, which combined with gold essences will give us gold ore. All we need to do now is get a combiner and use the basic mining box to get raw gold. The reason I built it like this is because I'm planning to make an iron seed as well and then move it here to the side and make it symmetrical. I've also moved the cloche with the gold seeds and its upgrade over here and connected it to the drawer, which is connected to the solidifier. Just need to set this to extract. We can then place the combiner over here, as well as an enrichment chamber or a basic enriching factory in my case. We'll connect the simple solidifier to the combiner with a cable. Now, in the configs of the combiner, I wanted to extract at the back, energy at the bottom, output at the right with auto-eject on, and input at the top. So let's add some basic universal cable down here, and I'll take them all the way up. I'm now going to buy a couple of advanced solar generator and connect them here. I'm aware of this not being really efficient, having different source generations in different parts of the race. I will eventually connect them together, don't worry. I've added some basic mining box by hand for the minute. This is now producing raw gold, which is getting transformed into gold dust. So once again, the last step we're missing is to smelt this gold dust into gold ingots. I can now place my basic smelting factory over here with a drawer on top, clear the config, select input on the left and output on top with auto eject and energy at the bottom. I now need to config the enriching factory as well. So input at the left, energy at the bottom, output at the right with auto eject on. I can also select also auto sort on for this as well. As you can see though, we have now finished all the essence that we had backed up, so it's gonna produce it incredibly slowly. To improve the efficiency, we'll in fact need to add some more cloche over here and connect them to the solidifier. The very last thing we're missing to actually fully automate this production is having the basic mining box come in here automatically on the drawer down there. To do that, we'll once again purchase 2 under drawers. We connect one down here, and we'll shift left click on the drawer to copy the frequency. We can then place this drawer here, making sure to disconnect it from here. And if we shift left click on the side, it will now copy the frequency. All we need to do now is connect this drawer to the combiner, just like that. And that's our automation fully done. Before we conclude the episode, I did say we were going to automate storage box as well, so let's go and do that. The very first thing we need is an unbreakable basic storage license, which we can get from this task by submitting 256 basic storage box. We already have this automatic wood farm, so getting storage box shouldn't be an issue. I've now sold enough wooden chests and I've got enough basic storage box, so let's claim the unbreakable basic storage license. We'll also need a few markets, which we'll use down here in a very similar setup to the one that we made for the basic storage box. Right, the first thing we're going to do is to make some space over here where we're gonna place our cloches. We'll place a drawer over here, and this is where our storage box are gonna end up. Now that we have way more gold, we can in fact use it to craft the speed upgrades, as well as a bunch of main output upgrades. I've just come to a realization that I've been absolutely wasting the spruce logs, as I specifically need either dark oak logs or chests. So let me quickly fix that. And I've also realized that I don't need the main output upgrades, but I needed no other upgrades, which requires also a no seed upgrade. This should be fairly easy to fix, so give me just a couple of seconds. To fix the next issue, we'll need an advanced crafter, which will connect to all the cloche, and we'll set it to use the spruce logs to craft 4 chests. You can then activate it, and it will start crafting the chests automatically. We then need to set all this cable to extract, so that the logs will end up in the auto crafter. Now that the chests are being crafted, we need to pump them into the quantum compressor, which we can replace over there. Once again, making sure that this is disconnected. And we can reinsert the unbreakable basic storage license. And it's now finally going to make the license we need. We can reconnect the quantum compressor to the markets. I'll then need another advanced crafter down here, which once again is crafted with 6 stone, a crafter in the middle and 2 iron ingots, and the crafter is crafted like that. There we have it. And we'll also set these up to make chests. Very last thing we need to do is connect this crafter to the markets. We're now producing infinite chests, which are going in the market and they'll eventually be sold. I've quickly made some chests. I'm going to insert them by hand just to speed up the process a wee bit. And as you've seen, we now have our first specialized chest license, which is sold the ones that were already in the market, and we are generating basic storage box. Now, I've sadly run out of time for today's episode. As you can imagine, it took me quite a long time, so if you got to this point, thank you for following along, and if you don't mind leaving a like, it'd be really appreciated. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!